All is about to be revealed. Over the next 90 minutes, the Japanese fans well represented in the crowd. The Qataris, obviously, as hosts, will have the advantage in that regards. Here come the flag bearers, and here come the teams. The first quarter-final of the 15th Asian Cup. It's Japan against Qatar.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Qatar. السيدات والسادة، يجب الوقوف للكأس بالنشيد الوطني لمنتخب اليابان.
Bruno Metsu has labelled Japan as the Barcelona of Asia this week, but the Qatar fans are starting to believe in their team. In their last two games, they've been aggressive, organised, and shown real quality in the final third. They'll need all that and more if they're to cause what would surely be the biggest shock at this Asian Cup so far. Let's have a look at the two teams, starting with Japan, who make three changes from the side that thrashed the Saudis. Keisuke Honda returns in midfield, Eiji Kawashima is back in goal after his suspension, and Masahiko Inoha replaces Atsuto Uchida, who serves a one-game ban for 2 yellow cards. Up front, Okazaki, Maeda and Kagawa will form a potent trio. The The Japanese substitutes bench full of quality as well. Qatar can always call on Fabio Cesar, as they did in the last game, and he scored a wonderful free kick to seal a 3-0 win against Kuwait. Our referee is Mohd Saleh Subkidin of Malaysia. His fourth appointment at this Asian Cup. His assistants Mu Yuk-chin of China and Mohd Sabri bin Matsdaud, also of Malaysia. The two captains, Bilal Mohammed of Qatar, and for Japan, Makoto Hasebe. Alberto Zaccaroni remains unbeaten as Japan coach, 5 wins and 2 draws, a solid start to his tenure. Bruno Metsu on familiar turf today. He spent 2 years at this stadium as coach of the club side, Al Gharafa. Metsu has made just the one change today. Right back Mohamed Kasola, of course, is out with suspension. So Mesad Ali Al-Hamed slots in and may have a tough night against Shinji Kagawa and co. Sebastian Soria still looking for his first goal at this Asian Cup. Qatar also have 4 players sitting on a yellow card, which do carry over until the quarterfinals, but not beyond. So we're all set on a rather grey day in Doha. The first quarter-final of the Asian Cup. Japan against Qatar. So we're at the business end of the competition. 8 teams left. Sudden death knockout football is here. The sense now, Andy Harper, that the tournament has really started.
Isn't there always that sensation when you go from the group stage, Simon, into the knockout rounds, that the anticipation, the electricity just rises a notch or two? And certainly being privileged to watch the hosts play with the crowd that they've attracted just adds to that occasion up against the favourites for the competition in Japan. This will be the biggest test that Qatar have faced so far.
Qatar all in white this afternoon as Mohamed Al Sayed tries to get away down the left flank. The stadium not quite full, which will probably be a bit of a disappointment. There's still a very healthy atmosphere. Good contingent from Japan as well, supporting their side as they go in search of what would be a 4th Asian Cup. Alberto Zaccaroni, Andy, says that it's not their priority, this competition, but as we remarked in the previous games, once you get to the knockout phase, you can't help surely not want to win it.
Indeed, once you're in the tournament, Simon, irrespective of your thoughts coming into it, once you saddle up for game 1, you may as well be in it to win it, as it were. Whatever debates around squad selections, etc., developing young players, they're all cast out the window. Now the job of every team in the tournament is to win.
What's the key in this game, Andy? Is it the midfield battle? How Qatar get a hold of those wonderful ball players for Japan, or perhaps down the flank, Kagawa up against the replacement, Mesad Ali Al-Hamed?
Well, I think it's twofold, Simon, for Qatar. Firstly, the key to their success in the second and third group games was the pressure they put Kuwait and China under early. They didn't allow them to play. They squeezed the midfield. Lawrence and Wesam Rizik were outstanding in the centre of midfield. But their job, and the mercury around that thermometer goes up markedly against Endo and Hasebe, even Keisuke Honda, who's on the ball now. Much more difficult task. That's the first thing they've got to do, is to establish their platform. But down the left is a massive problem for Qatar. Nagatomo's been one of the outstanding players in the tournament.
There's Shinji Kagawa trying to make the first incursion into the Qatar penalty area, and he succeeded in parts at least. He's won the Blue Samurai corner kick.
And the work that Nagatomo does down that left-hand side is hitting Qatar right in their weak spot. Ismail, the number 2, a good defender, a good attacker as a midfielder, not a good defender. And the one substitution made today, Asad Ali, he's going to know his bit of the football match, having to defuse Japan's left side.
And use of the arm there, as we saw clearly on the replay. Obviously deemed not deliberate by a Malaysian official. And here's the first test for the Qatar defence, to be delivered by Yasuhito Endo. They passed that one with flying colours.
But on the plus side for Qatar, Simon, I think potentially they have the most dynamic strike force in the competition. And Yusuf Ahmed, his performance against China completely illuminated the Asian Cup in 2011. Sebastian, we know him well. He hasn't hit his straps yet, and if he can, Mo Yoshida and Yasuki Kono are going to have a heck of a job containing them, but Qatar have to get a share of the ball for those two to have any chance today, and that's their big challenge.
This is Inoha in for the suspended Uchida, Keisuke Honda. Now we're losing out to Lawrence, who's really grown in stature in this tournament, although he's lost the ball there briefly. Now Sebastian. Good interception by Kono. To try and defend from the front as well, Qatar. This is one of the men who can hurt them, Yasuhito Endo. Those searching balls through midfield. Here's Keisuke Honda. Okazaki. Sturdy challenge from the back, which just put him off balance. No suggestion though of a penalty, but very much louder suggestion that that's a free kick.
This, of course, is the first of the quarterfinals for the Asia Cup 2011. That last attack, slight hint of a nudge in the back. Correctly way of play on, in my opinion. 4 years ago, the first game in Japan's group was against Qatar. Played Qatar off a break in that game and ended up succumbing to a late equaliser from Sebastian from the set piece. Japan are rightly wary of this team. They know they're red-hot favourites. They know on most technical measures they have the better of Qatar. Equally, they know the host. Potentially very slippery opponent this afternoon.
So rather optimistic from Ibrahim Majid.
That's one way of putting it, Simon.
Interesting, you mentioned previous meetings, Andy. They've met on 7 previous occasions, these two nations, and Japan have only won once. 4 draws, 2 Qatar wins. Japan's only success against Qatar was in this very city, the World Cup qualifier back in 2008. So they won 3-0. Bilal Mohammed on the score sheet against Kuwait. Down the road at the Khalifa Stadium. 3-0 success, guaranteeing Qatar a place in the last 8. For the first time since 2000, and incidentally they were beaten 3-1 by Japan. Rather by China, I should say. This is Nagatomo. Plays his football in Italy with Cesena. With 10 European-based Japanese players at this Asian Cup. Just thought about putting it through for Okazaki there, but realised he was offside.
They're already looking to stretch Qatar, and even early when Japan, particularly Endo, he receives the ball. On that occasion it was off Nagatomo, turns when not under pressure, and that's the first sign that Qatar are rattled because they haven't been able to pressure Endo to start with. And then he turns and faces Qatar's goal, and his first pass bisects the midfield and leaves Lawrence and Wesam Rizik completely stranded. Japan are in attacking mode and Qatar stretched. It hasn't taken long.
Honda, Kagawa, very tight in there. The white jerseys around. Sebastian Soria rumbled over. Endo. Yasuhito Endo. Such a cultured player. It's not on that particular occasion.
He didn't miss him. He didn't miss him. The thigh right in the lower back. The coccyx of Sebastian has only now just regained his feet. What an arena, what a platform, what an occasion for Sebastian to refine his form if he can today.
Here he Here's Sebastian looking for a shooting opportunity. Oh, and then a great save from Kawashima. A follow-up, I think, from Mesad Ali. And the Qatar fans on their feet for the first time.
Mesad Ali with a good anticipating run up the right-hand side. He just had that slight whiff that there might be something opening up for him. Sebastian's shot rebounding into his path, and he forced a terrific save off Kawashima. First blow to Qatar.
And their first corner. Sebastian headed it up rather than towards goal. Mohamed Al Sayed controls it. Rizik square for Lawrence. Now back with Mesad Ali Al-Hamad. He's going to have a dig from long range. Oh, and Kawashima only palms it clear. And Sebastian into the side netting. Well, Mesad Ali Al-Hamad obviously can hit them from long range.
Oh, Kawashima leaping to his feet, demonstrating with his defenders. I reckon he looked a tad sluggish. Now, benefit of any doubt to the keeper, the ball was probably moving around because he hit beautifully, did Mesad Ali. Within a minute, he's forced two excellent saves. And it was an excellent save in the final analysis because his footwork looked a little lethargic. In the end, he was scrambling.
Good riposte from Qatar, but they were put a bit under pressure in the early moments by the heavy favourites.
Well, early goals have been the key to Qatar in the last couple of weeks, couple of games, not weeks. Despite their very early and good pressure, with a fabulous chance to Sebastian upon recollection. It did take them 27 minutes to go ahead with that stunner from Yusuf Ahmed. Nevertheless, they were on the ball from the start.
Now this is a concern for Bruno Metsu. Ibrahim Majed, I wonder whether he's just tweaked a hamstring. Maybe it's even a bit more serious than that. Play will continue with Qatar down to 10. He's feeling the back of that left hamstring. No, he's gone. He's gone, Ibrahim Majed. Well, that's a huge blow for Bruno Metsu. Already without Mohamed Kasola through suspension. Now he's lost his other fullback to injury. Well, we've only played 10 minutes.
And Ibrahim Majed, as well equipped as anyone in this Qatar team to look after Shinji Okazaki. That's another advantage Japan's way. Mohamed Al Sayed has dropped into left fullback for the time being.
Good header by Sebastian. Now Kawashima has to get there quickly. And the flag was raised against Yusuf Ahmed.
Finally, just to finish that early goal story, Simon, an early pressure from Qatar. It just took them 11 minutes against Kuwait. So a good start for Qatar is vital today, and they so nearly got it. Mesad Ali's two good efforts. Japan will look to settle the longer they can contain Qatar. Take the sting out of the crowd, the sting out of the home ground advantage. Better for the Blue Samurai.
This is Inoha. Diagonal crossfield ball, and between Bilal Mohammed and Mesad Ali Al-Hamad, sorting out the danger for Qatar. Now Sebastian is onside here. He's been forced wide by the ball. There's nobody in the middle. And he cuts past one. It's in! Sebastian has his first goal in this Asian Cup. Kawashima beaten at the near post. Qatar in front. Al Gharafa on its feet.
Well, it's a stunning moment for the hosts. And the man upon whom so much has relied over the years, he's failed to deliver. The Japanese are up in arms for offside. Completely up in arms. Well, Sebastian plays the whistle, which isn't forthcoming. He takes on Kawashima. This is going to be interesting to see what transpires here. The referee in deep conversation with his officials.
Well, Alberto Zaccaroni is suggesting on the sideline he wasn't just offside, he was offside by a mile. Well, he's not.
It's not a mile. It's close at best.
I think he's on.
Anyway, leave the controversy to burn. Yoshida beaten, pointless. Kawashima beaten. Hasn't been a great start for the keeper. Beaten to his near post. The goal stands. The hosts are up by a goal to nil.
It's not great keeping from Eiji Kawashima. Well, he's had to wait until the fourth game of the tournament, Sebastian. But finally he's off the mark. And Qatar, Andy, are on their way.
And the early goal syndrome has struck for Qatar.
Now what do Japan have in response? Honda clipping it through. Here's a chance for the equaliser. Kagawa forced a little wide. Chips it towards Nagatomo. Keep it in play. By the way, that change has been made for Qatar. Ibrahim Majed replaced by Khaled Mukhtar, who is a natural left fullback. So that's a bonus for Al-Anabi, the Maroon. Not as big a bonus as Sebastian's goal. Gives them something to defend. And Japan come at them, which they surely will. Cool as a cucumber. Bilal Mohammed. Right foot. You said it, Andy. This front duo of Sebastian and Yusuf Ahmed will cause most defences problems. Sebastian's power, Yusuf's pace. And what a finish that was from the naturalised Uruguayan. He had no help at all. So he thought, well, stuff it, I'll go on my own.
Well, he had no right to score from there, but he's not going to stay quiet forever. I mean, 3 quiet games for enough player of his quality.
Okazaki, Keisuke Honda, throws it up for Hasebe, left it a bit short with the return. And Endo is fouled.
It's hugely questionable defending. I mean, there is going to be a lot of talk about offside, onside. But Yoshida just beaten too easily. He had no angle to work with, Sebastian. Yoshida could have easily squeezed him out, suffocated him out of that opportunity with just a little bit more nous and composure. And the keeping left a lot to be desired. Kawashima has been sluggish to start this game, very sluggish. They'll find it difficult to contain those front two. Confidence rises, they get some possession to chase down, a bit of acreage in which to run. And Yusuf Ahmed, he is like greased lightning. Sebastian's no slouch either. The two of them are going to cause nightmares for Japan today, now that they've got their tails up and their nose in front.
Well, Japan are the free kick specialists. We saw that at the World Cup. Keisuke Honda lining it up, driving it into the defensive wall. Got their tails up here, Qatar. There goes Yusuf Ahmed looking for bounce over the head of Inoha. Big game for Inoha, just his third cap. A lot of responsibility for him and Yoshida, who's played on too many more occasions for the national side. Here is Yoshida. The experienced hand at the tiller, back line for Japan. Hasebe. Free kick, Japan. Square for Endo. The run of Honda, but he was blocked off. Away come Qatar. Yusuf Ahmed, the tricky Yusuf Ahmed. To his strike partner Sebastian on the score sheet already. Down a little too easily.
I thought Yusuf might have gone himself there. Sebastian with the diagonal run across his strike partner's path, taking defenders with him, and did open up the right channel. And defending very high up the pitch, which you can understand trying to squeeze Qatar and not let them out. But though, as soon as the play breaks up and the field is open, space in behind the back four for Japan is very vulnerable.
Kagawa. It's in by Honda, should be the goalkeepers. See Burhan with a little exchange of views with Ryuichi Maeda. Well, there's no foul there. Might be one there though. Has to be penalised. Yoshida in the arm, which connected with Yusuf Ahmed. Central position. Lawrence feeds it out to the left. To substitute Khaled Mukhtar. Sad Ali Al Hamad. Another great ball. Metsu resisting the temptation to revert Hamid Ismail back to the right fullback position where he played in game one, of course, against the Uzbekistan side. A bit of a nightmare in all honesty, so it's probably the right decision. Nagatomo. Endo just bouncing off Sebastian. Kick already taken. Hasabe's header. Kagawa really hit his straps as yet at this Asian Cup, and he was a bit unfortunate there as he slipped. He fell onto the ball and made contact with it with his hand. Just lost his footing there. Here's another look at the offside, Andy. He's nowhere near offside. The lines on the pitch tell you that.
Yeah, that's if the lines are mowed straight. We have to believe they are, but that was the only indication we have from that angle. More distressing for Japan is the way they got beaten at the end. Really, he was going nowhere, Sebastian. But he is a high-quality player. He's opened his account for the tournament. It's taken longer than it might. He missed a complete sitter against China game 2. Blazed away on 3 or 4 other occasions.
Well, maybe he was saving them all up for the knockout phase.
And how often can you say that about good players, Simon, when the team needs them? He's been their star turn for 4 years now. He's given them an enormously valuable lead here.
Throw met by Yoshida. Cleared by Keisuke Honda. Belted back in by Al Ghanim. Inoha. Couldn't quite pick out Okazaki. For once, Yusuf Ahmed's control is not of the highest order. Almost at the midway point of this first half of the first quarter-final. As the favourites are concerned, it's not really going according to plan. Free kick here though, which Keisuke Honda is in a hurry to get on with. Okazaki has been flagged.
That one was very tight. I thought he was probably onside there. Of that incident, we did have an excellent view because of our broadcast position. There might have been a breastbone in it. less than. That's onside. And it's so onside that the assistant referee should wave, not even be any doubt. If he's in doubt, it's got to be play on. How that could have been even close to doubtful.
Advantage always should go to the attacker.
That is the FIFA edict.
Did on Sebastian Suria's occasion. Mexican wave going around the stadium at Al Gharafa. The Doha dance, as we've dubbed it. Sense, Andy, that Japan are a little bit rattled. Easy to say, of course, when they're trailing.
Now I get more of a sense that Qatar are excellently organised. They're playing a very compact back four and midfield four. Yusuf Ahmed and Sebastian doing a good job at delaying.
Here's Nagatomo. Pushes it wide of Seam's left-hand post, and he's just reminding his fullback the alerts.
Good effort from Nagatomo. He's a super player. One of the highlights of the tournament, in my opinion. I've really enjoyed watching him play. Japan need to release him more down the left-hand side. Really stretch Qatar. That's the problem for Japan at the moment. Qatar well organised. The defensive midfield doing a good job as a block. The front two delaying well. When they've got the chance to press, they're going ruthlessly. Particularly looking to close down Yasuhito Endo from his blind side. They know how important he is as a central operator for Japan. Don't let him dwell on the ball and pick his pass. They're doing this very well, Qatar, at the moment.
They are.
And playing off the break nicely.
Yusuf Ahmed. So good defending by Kono. Now perhaps there's the chance for Japan to get that free-flowing passing game going. Honda, though, is again quickly closed down. Working very, very hard, the Qataris. No foul on Wissam Rizk. Honda back in possession. Japan back on the attack. Asabe clips it in. Lawrence tidies up. Ahmed Ismail sprints away.
He can motor too, this bloke, don't worry about that.
Taking on Nagatomo, getting to the byline. Took two Japanese players to stop him. Challenge from Lawrence. He's pulled up the foul. There's the early statistics. More on those. Go to the AFC's official website, www.the-afc.com. Forage for the ball from the left flank. Precious little of it in the middle. Hasabe held up by Al-Ghanim. It's all a bit too narrow. Of course, they don't have those forward runs of Chido on the right today. Noha proved that he could perhaps fill that gap in the match against the Saudis. Kagawa. Honda is free. This is better by Japan. Okazaki onside. Okazaki, and it's headed in by Kagawa. 1-1 at Al Gharafa. Shinji Kagawa's first goal of the tournament. He's broken his track too, but set up by Shinji Okazaki, and the favourites restore parity.
Well, they're not feeling that much under pressure, Japan, because they can organise a celebration after being stretched for the opening quarter of this match. Again, that's a good advantage played by the assistant referee. Not offside, and it should be play on. And that came on the back of a wonderfully patient piece of play. Now, you want to know the key to Japan winning this football match. It's encapsulated in that move. They were poised in possession. They moved the ball from point to point. They dragged Qatari defenders out of their position. And then Honda with a beautiful dink over the top, instinctively knowing where Okazaki was. Outstanding attack from Japan.
And it's the current golden boy of Japanese football, Shinji Kagawa. Away they come again, Japan, but Nagatomo can't quite get there. Talk of Manchester United being interested in the services of Shinji Kagawa. Will have done him no harm, even though it's only a tap-in. No emotion on the face of Alberto Zaccheroni. All of a sudden, it's a little quieter at Al Carafa. Apart from the Japanese fans, that is, who are waving their blue balloons in the air. Asbe for Maeda. Gives it away through Rizik, Qatar. Important period of the game this, Andy, just shy of the half-hour mark. Japan have gotten back level. Qatar need to keep their focus here.
It's very, very important that they don't allow themselves to be picked apart. They were very compact in the early periods of the game. And they were springing with real elan out of defence. And finding the range with their passing now.
And Qatar started to make a few mistakes.
Indeed, they're rattled. The brilliant chance they'd worked for themselves and taken on 12 minutes from Sebastian has now been extinguished by Japan, who from here have all the capacity to completely turn the screws on Qatar, suffocate them out of the football match, starve them of possession. The movement off the ball is really something to watch when they get into the swing of it, Japan.
Strength shown by Ahmed Ismail and Sebastian Surian. Look at Yusuf Ahmed racing through. Yusuf Ahmed! Wow, his pace again, Andy. Really concerning the Japanese defence.
And a wonderful warning shot for Japan if they needed one. As much as they're hogging possession, a piece of robust defending on the right-hand side. Sebastian releasing Yusuf. The two of them are fantastic options up forward. Yusuf Ahmed, at blink of an eye, he's gone. He is the will o' the wisp.
Minoa had 2 or 3 metres start on him. Now, here's Okazaki with a chance to put Japan in front. And well done to the goalkeeper. He saved Qatar there. Qasim Burhan. We pointed out, Andy, some of his eccentricities in previous games, but that was terrific goalkeeping. Made himself really big there, Qasim Burhan. Yellow cards issued by Sukhiddin Modsale to Yasuhito Endo.
Well, that was, in some senses, a brave piece of goalkeeping from Qasim Burhan, because the goal that Japan scored, he found himself in a similar position, and he was pushing the envelope too, wasn't he? Look at the end of the penalty area. And enough teammates supporting him there. This is the yellow card. Endo, to be quite frank, there's not a lot in that. Foul, if anyone, came from Kono.
I don't think Endo is anywhere near him, is he?
That was the centre plank of his defence, which he prosecuted. The referee wasn't having anything of it.
As the forlorn Ibrahim Majid. Here's how he met his grisly end in the football context. Clearly a hamstring. Khaled Mufta on his stead. Graduate of the Aspire Academy for Sporting Excellence, just down the road from here. Here's Lawrence with the free kick for Qatar. Sebastian climbing illegally. It's a big unit, isn't he, Sebastian?
I think that might have been for offside, and if it was for offside, get it from that angle, but certainly the assistant's flag was up and the ref responded to that. How you can be offside from a direct take like that, free kick like that from Lawrence? There was no short pass, there was nothing, he just launched it. Shouldn't be offside from that situation.
No one will be more grateful to Shinji Kagawa than the goalkeeper, Eiji Kawashima. Partly at fault for the Qatar goal. It's Keisuke Honda. Gets the ball under control. Kagawa, square for Hasabe. He'll drive it. Hasabe! And it's a great stop again from Qasim Burhan.
It certainly was a good shot. There have been moments up until now where he's looked more like the class clown rather than the goalkeeper for the national team, but he looked every bit the goalkeeper there. Qasim Burhan gets his 1.92 m frame down very effectively. Excellent work.
Still got to defend the corner though, Qatar. Endo to the near post. Kono flicks it on. Honda shaping to shoot, but it's cleared by Qatar. Yoshida finds the space for Honda. Sam Ruzik foraging for the ball, but he's put it out of play. Japan back on the offensive. Honda, beautifully done. Endo slides it in for Kagawa. Back for Endo, who'll shake for the shot. In fact, cannoned into his own man Nagatomo, who was standing in an offside position.
Well, it's been the emergence of Keisuke Honda in the last 10 minutes, which is really pleasing to see from a Japan point of view. Tamo's clearly offside there. Keisuke Honda has been quiet this tournament, scored the penalty to win the game against Syria, was on the bench for the next game amidst all sorts of press talk that he'd fallen out, at least to some extent, with coach Zaccaroni, questioning his role in the team where he'd prefer to play. But this has been his most productive performance for the Japanese national team in this tournament, and he's looking very good for it, as is his team.
Noha showing too much of it to Al Sayed. It's been a really good game. 36 minutes played, 1-1 at Al Gharafa. Here's Okazaki trying to get a metre of space on Al Ghanim and making room for the shot. He might tee it up for Honda instead. Japan really pressing here. They're starting to get in behind the Qatar defence.
Isn't it beautiful to watch too? Japan just stretch their opponents with this precision, short passing. It's the proximity of the midfielders to each other. It reduces the margin for error in the passing. And then as they need to switch the ball to a wide defender, away it goes, and they get an overlap situation happening. It's really delightful to watch. Very hard to defend against, as Qatar are finding at the moment.
Hasabe, the Japanese captain. See Burhan, a little bit of reorganisation perhaps of that defence that has looked pretty solid in the last two games. Is really being tested here. Sebastian Surya already run nearly 4 kilometres. Of course, crucially, has his first goal at this Asian Cup. Good flick on to Sebastian. Kono's picked up a knock behind play and continued, but it's a little wasteful. Maeda just not looking along the line.
I agree, had plenty of time just to hold his his run. Just hit the brakes. There's no need. Just pump the brakes. The defence is facing its goal line. It's exposed completely. All you need is just to slow down and keep the attack alive. It's a cool play from Maida.
Good perseverance by Mohamed Al Sayed. Something up here for Qatar, but two defenders across quickly, and two was one too many for Mohamed Al Sayed. Al-Sabah forward for Inoha. Okazaki is charging through the middle, looking for the centre, and so too was Qasim Burhan.
He didn't want to know about it then. Okazaki did it. Exactly, but the goalkeeper would have been bearing down like a foot strain. On that one, he wasn't going to argue.
Hat-trick against the Saudis, of course. Shinji Okazaki, 2 for Ryoichi Maeda. They've been slow burners at this tournament, Japan. Started off very sluggishly indeed against Jordan. Almost lost that game. Haven't, of course, played a friendly since October before this Asian Cup, so it's understandable. Sebastian flagged again. It's a really tough half of the draw, this one. Whoever gets through will have to face South Korea in the semi-finals. So no easy path to the big showdown at Khalifa Stadium.
Nor should there be. The other half of the draw, quarter-finals, probably more difficult to pick than the top half, but then with the crossover in the semi-final world, the whole discussion changes focus completely. South Korea or Iran looming in the semi-final. It's a difficult prospect either way. Cut it.
Yeah, of course, I was forgetting about the Iranians. South Korea still haven't beaten Team Melli. My apologies. Iran proving to be one of the teams to beat at this Asian Cup. They could well end their 35-year droughts. This has been a fascinating contest thus far. There's plenty of ebb and flow to the contest, both sides having their periods of superiority.
Honda's been spoken to by the referee. He's obviously providing his own running commentary.
There's a few like to do that. Again, they try and hit Sebastian, and again, the flag is up on the fast touchline.
That's the third time Sebastian's been offside from a set piece. He's trying to steal a march. Can't blame him for that. And over the course of time, one's likely to fall for him. Another one got the better of the decision to the goal. Fairly so, it would appear. Game in the pattern most people predicted.
Now it's dropped nicely here for Kagawa, who flashes it wide of the upright again. A half chance perhaps, really. But in his current form for Borussia Dortmund, I just fancied he'd take that.
Well, don't you reckon? If that was the best Stadion in Dortmund, that would have hit the back of the net the way he's been going.
8 goals in the German Bundesliga. Really exploded onto the scene. More surprising because before that he was playing in the second division in Japan with Cerezo Osaka. This is Mohamed Al Sayed, right-footed but playing on the left flank for Qatar. Wissam Rizik's header. Sebastian brings it down. For Yusuf Ahmed, there was half a call for a handball there against Nagatomo. A few Japanese hearts in mouths just for a fraction of a second. Too heavy by Bilal Mohammed.
Not a bad period for Qatar. They have enormous speed on their wings. And they're using that on the occasion that they get the chance. Well, Sebastian's been a highlight, scored the goal. He's been offside a few times from set pieces, which needs correcting. But the work he's doing in trying to pressurise the central two defenders when in possession for Japan, or pushing into midfield, retreating into midfield to put the heat on Endo or Hasebe, has been a real feature of the Qatar performance, and indeed that's the pattern of the game. Qatar need to dig in, spring on the counter. Japan will come, and they'll come with possession.
Look at that possession, what it translates to in the number of successful passes, almost double. Now onside against Honda, but not going to get there ahead of the goalkeeper. Almost double the passes Japan have out of Qatar.
Terrific work there. It's onside. The assistant referee was going to wave play on. Honda had a look. That took him off his stride, and the ball probably had too much pace on it anyway.
This is Endo. They're going to run by Okazaki, and again they're just trying to spring that offside trap. The weight of the pass is going to have to be very carefully measured though as Qatar push out.
Well, Endo knows he blew that one. He wasn't under the pressure he has been for a lot of the half. Okazaki had made the run. That what was required was well within the capacity of Yasuhito Endo.
1 additional minutes to be played at the end of the first 45. Japan find their way into the lead before the interval. Kono, could have been short for Nagatomo, did well to get there and steer it into the path of Kagawa. Here comes Japan. Shinji Kagawa came off the arm there of Qatar player, but not deliberate, so it'll be a corner, probably the last action of the first 45. Endo get the delivery right. This would be a hammer blow for Qatar if they were to concede here. But they don't. And the interval shows that it's all square. A fascinating first half. Qatar taking the lead through Sebastian Surya after 12 minutes. Shinji Kagawa with the equaliser after 28. And it's all tied up in this first quarter final at Al Gharafa. It's Japan 1, Qatar 1. Well, Andy Harper, it's been fascinating viewing. Qatar have certainly had their moments. They've suffered that injury, of course, as well to Ibrahim Majed. If they were to go further, he might be a doubt for the rest of the tournament. But overall, you'd probably say both coaches are relatively pleased with their team's efforts.
Yeah, terrific quarter-final. Really terrific quarter-final. You know, Qatar up against it as far as reputation and playing talent and available resources for a football team are concerned. Japan just crawling with players and did well to get back level.
So there we go. All square between Japan and Qatar at the interval. 8 shots on target in total. Just the one yellow card issued. That went to Yasuhito Endo of Japan. And well, we've seen those sort of stats before when Japan play. 61% of the possession that they've had. Qatar, though, they've worked like tigers. 36 tackles they've made. The midfield duo of Rizik and Lawrence in particular have.
سامعين كويت بعد شوي راح اطلع انا وياكم لان نزلوا لاعبين
So all square at the interval in this first quarter-final between Japan and Qatar. Just seen Bora Milutinovic, the former coach of China at the 2002 World Cup, and of course now working with the Qatar FA. I said, who's going to win, Bora? He said, we are. It's very much we, as far as Qatar is concerned, for Bora Milutinovic these days. We shall see. So it's Qatar in all whites who get us back underway. Start of the second half. No further changes made by either team. Immediately, Andy Harper, a free kick for Qatar in a pretty good position too.
He looks to be in a bit of trouble too, Yoshida. He's going to pick up a yellow card for his trouble. Rubs some salt into the wounds. As the referee was reaching for his pocket.
Well, if he does, then Yoshida, who's already on a yellow card, would miss any possible semi-final that Japan would play in.
Awkward, heavy fall for Yoshida.
Looking a bit groggy, isn't he?
This is a wonderful position for Sebastian Surya. Imagine he'll line up for the free kick. Fabio, of course, on the bench, scored that wonderful free kick against Kuwait in the dying moments of the third group game.
There's a yellow card, so there we go. Yoshida out of the semis. And Alberto Zaccaroni's central defensive worries continue. Already without Nakazawa and Marcus Tulio Tanaka through injury. Two of the replacements, Sakai and Makino, injured too. And now Yoshida's gone.
It's not going to be Sebastian who's taken his place. A line of white shirts adjacent to Japan's wall. It's Lawrence who's lining up.
We've already had a taste of how Lawrence can hit them. Oh, right at the start of the second half, could this be a key moment in this first quarter-final? Born in Ghana, but playing for Qatar. He is these days Lawrence of Arabia, you could say. He's not quite proved to be the hero of yore.
I do wonder why Sebastian's not on the set piece. He's got a thunderous shot. That's exactly his range. It's not a crossing situation. It's not as though you want him to be challenging defenders. I just wanting him blast one from there.
It's a touch off Ibrahim Al-Ghanim. Formed a good partnership back with Bilal Mohammed for Qatar. And with Keisuke Honda, clear trip. Combative with Sam Rizik.
Had a terrific tournament, Wissam Rizik. Terrific tournament. He's having to fight hard for his colours. Al Garafa this evening up against one of the most functional midfields in the competition. But he's holding his own. The difficulty for Qatar is the defensive unit. Put it this way, the entire team when they're defending has to be in such sync with each other, cover up, double up, push, drop, move laterally. It's all going to be so well organised, otherwise Japan will find a way through.
And Rizik, as you say, is central to all of that, along with Lawrence. Japan, and a yellow ticket has been issued to Ibrahim Al-Ghanim for this little trip on Maeda. The ball has gone. This is Yoshida. Has Hasebe. Noha, a little bit lucky there. Al-Sayed. Lawrence. For the muscular figure of Sebastian, but Yoshida is that particular duel given away by Maeda. So Yusuf Ahmed. Too many opportunities to show us what he can do tonight, Yusuf Ahmed.
Now that's not exactly at this point of his development the strong point of his game. Yusuf Ahmed. His pass picking ability is not a highlight at all. What he needs to consolidate from this point on, no doubt, for the sake of this game, however, when he gets a chance, ball at his feet, possession secured, a little bit of space, I just turn and go. The defender's absolute nightmare against someone with that sort of speed and dribbling ability. Big relief when he passes the ball away.
Unable to combine with Kagawa. Foul on Lawrence. A bit scrappy at the start of this second period. Roberto Zaccaroni studying concentration. Bruno Metsu a few moments ago, angered by referee's refusal to give a free kick for what he perceives to be persistent fouling on his striker Sebastian. Here he is on the ball. Goal kick. Just didn't get the bounce of the ball there, did he, Sebastian? 60th cap tonight for Sebastian. He's just netted his 23rd goal. Maybe he could be on for a 24th here. Foster cover.
There's another example of Yusuf Ahmed turn, and his pass wasn't great when the defence was all set up to be split apart.
Lawrence met by Endo. Assad's Neil Hamad. Throw in for Qatar. Lawrence. Good ball. Sebastian, chance to turn and run at the Japanese defence, but look how quickly the space is closed down. Got the ball by fair means. Kazaki. Yoshida. Kagawa. Endo with the switch. Too much on that for Katomo. That's a foul surely by Hasebe. Was turned into the player rather than going directly for the ball. Well, you can smile, but there's no doubting this was a free kick.
Well, he was beaten, completely beaten. It's the last effort by Sebastian. It's clear obstruction. I mean, he's left the line by which he was running to stop the progress of the forward. I'm not quite sure what he was complaining about. Yusuf Ahmed was away. Again, another example of the youngster's speed and the threat he poses with the ball at his feet.
So a chance from the set piece for Qatar. Sebastian will again be the target, no doubt. Well, that's a huge disappointment to this large home crowd. Frown on the face of Sebastian. Can't feed off those sort of scraps. I think it's fair to say, Andy, that Bruno Metsu's disgusted by that delivery.
Why not two? Complete waste. Take every chance you can get to pressurise Japan's defence. The likelihood is, over the normal course of the football match, the forward players aren't going to have that opportunity.
Well, there's not a lot of space on the park at the moment for either side. Very congested. Perhaps thinking about a change. Posted on that. Can't even be split in terms of the fouls they've committed. 13 apiece and all on the scoreboards. Here's Kagawa trying to change all that. And just overran it. Tackle by Al-Ghani. Forward pass to follow. Really any rhythm about the game at the moment, Andy?
Well, no, Qatar are doing well to make sure there isn't. The more the rhythm, the worse it is for Qatar.
Here's Nagatomo. Oh, and it's flicked just wide of the post with the head of Shinji Okazaki. Arrived late. Just couldn't steer it between the posts.
Timed beautifully. The run, the pass, just the angle on the header missing. Khaled Mufta was caught on his heels and Shinji Okazaki needed to do better. All the hard work done. He knows it.
Qatar are readying Fabio Cesar, their Brazilian-born midfielder, who came onto the bench to such good effect against Kuwait. Scored that wonderful free kick. He'll be arriving shortly. No foul by Endo. Maeda. Lawrence. Volleys it clear. And again. Kono. Asuba. Finds the space for Kagawa. Endo. How many numbers are back for Qatar?
Well, as they need to be. It just gets a little bit too tight on the occasions for Japan, and Qatar could look to counter-attack. A change to be made. Fabio on. Mohamed El Sayed off.
What do you make of that change, Andy?
Well, I don't quite know who else he would bring off. If you bring Fabio on, ostensibly a left midfielder, he's not going to make another adjustment to left fullback. He's not going to change the central two midfielders of Weston, Risk and Lawrence because they've done a good job so far. Mohamed El Sayed has looked dangerous on occasion down the left flank, perhaps not constant enough in that danger posed, and Fabio now playing a deeper sort of role, a narrower role from the Mohamed El Sayed. Looking, I would suggest, to be closer to the two central midfielders, and when the ball does break down from a Japanese turnover, Fabio in that more narrow position can look to retrieve possession and start an attack rather than just launch the ball wide, hoping that El Sayed can get the ball. That's how I interpret it. He doesn't have the pace and the speed of El Sayed, that's for sure.
But he's a bit more creative.
A bit more creative, and he'll just play just tucked in that left side a bit more.
There's his first touch. Yusuf Ahmed can't escape the clutches of Nagatomo. carrying that wrist injury that he sustained in a pre-Asian Cup friendly, Yusuf Ahmed. Still seemed to bother him on occasion. SK Honda. Wide left is Kagawa. He darts between the two defenders. Great work by Kagawa. Finds the man at the far post. Okazaki prods it towards Honda. Here it comes for Hasebe. And Noah's cross. No one in particular. Hasebe. Maeda. Nagatomo. It's promising for Japan, and Nassim Burhan forced into making the save.
Good goalkeeping and looked pretty straightforward at first glance, but not to be sure whether the ball was going to dip or fly. And his near post covered, took it tidily.
That's a loose one. That's pace again. Troubles both Nagatomo and Yoshida. Has he left the foot in there, Ahmed? Well, it's Yoshida who's going to get the second yellow, which equals red. Well, Andy, I'm not sure that's the correct decision. Maybe we're wrong, but to me, that's a poor call from the ref.
Well, I didn't see a lot in his first yellow card, to be honest. He got up limping from that one. This is the first yellow. I mean, he's been backed into by the striker. It's a free kick at best. It's certainly not a yellow card. And that's going for the ball. That's not a yellow card either. I mean, it's a horrendous decision from the referee.
There's just a little bit of movement towards Yusuf Ahmed, perhaps to prevent him getting the ball afterwards. Is that what he's given it for?
At a complete stretch, you give that a free kick. Oh, I think that's a horrendous decision from the referee.
I have to say, Andy, I'm with you on that one. Zakaroni is too. Well, whatever you think of the decision, that's given Qatar a huge boost. They could get a further one here if Fabio Cesar can get the delivery right. Japan down to 10 with still just under half an hour to play. Fabio Cesar goes for the near post, it's in! Direct from the free kick! Fabio Cesar for the second game running! Puts Qatar back in front! It's a disaster for Japan! Down to 10 men, and now down to 1. But it's a hugely controversial talking point, and the referee at the centre of all the drama. Dear oh dear, Eiji Kawashima, sorry Andy, he's been beaten twice at his near post.
Well, the controversy is going to rain. It's going to rain and rain long for that refereeing decision. But let's park that for the moment, because this is terrible, terrible goalkeeping. He just looks like a rank amateur. I know he had plenty of people in front of him, but Fabio's just hit that more in home than anything else. He's backed himself that the traffic's going to cause trouble.
Here's a change for Japan, perhaps unsurprisingly. They're bringing on a central defender. Yoichi Maeda is the man to be sacrificed. Daiki Iwamasa, who might have been first choice for this tournament due to those earlier injuries, but for injury to himself. So this is his first game of the Asian Cup, and now they've got a real problem. One of the pre-tournament favourites. A man down and a goal down. But as you said, Andy, debate will rage long and hard about that decision to send off Yoshida.
Well, I don't know how he's found one yellow card out of those two incidents, let alone two. Anyway, the referee's the man in the middle. He has his angle of things. It's easy from our position to take a different view. He can only call things the way he sees them. Japan have had to deal with a man less against Syria. haven't had to come from behind them.
It's a huge test of the quality of the Blue Samurai. Let's see what they've got. Endo to deliver this free kick. Good shake to it. Qatar deal with it. And there is a real buzz around this stadium. With 25 minutes to go, by fair means or foul, whatever your view, they are ahead, and this is why, and it is shocking goalkeeping.
Well, there was a discussion point coming into the game when he was sent off against Syria. His deputy, Shusku Nishikawa, was outstanding. I wonder if Coach Zakarani was tempted at all to leave the deputy in because he looked so comfortable. But the incumbent has had a poor game. He made a good save, two important saves before Qatar scored. Mesad Ali, the first goal raised a question or two, and the second raised even more.
And Fabio Cesar, the super sub. 2 free kicks, 2 goals. Not a bad return. Some blue faces amongst the blue jerseys. And they find an equaliser. Endo's cross. Bilal Mohammed's header clear. Come from behind once, Japan. Have to do so again if they're to remain in contention. Iwamasa is now picked. Qatar fans in jovial mood. Kawashima, well, you'll forgive him if he's not going to join in. Well, this is as noisy a Qatar crowd as we've heard in this entire tournament.
Well, if they're not going to make noise now, you'd have real question marks. They're leading 2-1 up. They've got an extra man against the tournament favourites, Japan. But that's not enough to make the blood pump through your brain, blood veins. Nothing is.
In our humble opinion, you may think differently at home. They've been given a rather large helping hand. On by Mesad Ali. Syria wins a good header. Fabio Cesar slipping on the edge of the penalty box. It goes towards Sebastian. And deal with that one away by Iwamasa. Keisuke Honda. They need their big stars to fire now more than ever before, Japan. The likes of Honda, Endo, Asabe, Kagawa. They've got big reputations. This is the stage to prove them. Ahmad. Bruno Matsu, could he become the first coach of Qatar to take the national side through to the semi-finals of the Asian Cup? Never been further than this. Doha dance continues. passer. And dig it out. This is Honda. Almost breaks for Okazaki. Does break for Kagawa! 2-2! Shinji Kagawa! Well, what a match we've got here now at Al Gharafa. Qatar undone defensively, and Shinji Kagawa, without a goal before today, now has two. And we're still no nearer to knowing the identity of who will go through to the last four.
Well, Zach's Japan are back, and Zach backed his man Kagawa to deliver when the games hit the clutch moments. And the Dortmund star has kept life in the Blue Samurai, who had the blues just moments ago, but now they're back square. And it's all smiles for the men in blue. And it's game on here at Al Gharafa.
You bet it is. 20 minutes to go. Twice they've come back from the dead, Japan. They simply refuse to lie down. And that's, Andy, sometimes is the mark of quality. They've had to dig out results at this tournament more than once.
Well, they didn't drop their chins. They've still got an enormous amount of work to do, and there's still huge opportunity for Qatar. But two of the big names coming into this tournament have been underwhelming in games 1, 2 and 3, with periods for both throughout all those games. But Keisuke Honda and Shinji Kagawa in for a lot of criticism, but they both played well today.
And away goes Hasami down the right flank. Can he find the centre? This is gorgeous stuff from the captain. Back foot Inoha. Oh, and it's a cross that doesn't match the sterling player Makoto Hasebe. Wonderful skills, and now Qatar on the counter. Straight to Endo. Well, don't touch the dial. This is going to be a grandstand finish. Which way is it going to go, Andy?
Well, let's look at it this way. Qatar have used two subs. It goes into extra time. That's certainly levelled out by the fact that Japan are having to work an extra 10% harder because they've lost that man. So I would suggest from this point on, Qatar hang on as best they can, as was the initial game plan, but even more so now.
Here's Sebastian. Ahmed Ismail. Messad Ali is behind the strikers rather than in front of them where they wanted it.
With a potential advantage coming in extra time because of the extra man advantage. Japan will be looking to win it in normal time, but they won't be reckless about it. They'll keep probing away. They'll keep backing their individual and collective ability to prise open Qatar's defence. See Sebastian rising above the pack at least once for a meaningful contact. You can see Yusuf Ahmed in a 50-metre burst in open field to score as well.
Maybe this is the moment. Fabio Cesar's corner. Bilal Mohamed's time highest. Another corner. Japan believe that should be a goal kick. They really believe they're not getting the top of the green here. Take two for Fabio Cesar. A little bit deeper this one. Played by Okazaki. This is Wissam Rizik. Messad Ali Al-Hamed. Sebastian. First touch, but his physical bulk keeps him in the contest.
4 years ago, Japan had the luxury of playing against Australia in a quarter-final of the Asian Cup. Australia went down to 10 men. Japan needed penalties to get out of that one with the man's advantage. Robust challenge from Sebastian.
Interestingly, when he went to offer the hand of friendship to Kono afterwards, Kono wasn't having anything of it. Oh, it's a little bit late too, but Gower is okay. Inoha continues down the right for Japan. Asabe.
Now, even more, Qatar's plan from here with an extra man is to make sure no Japanese players are free in possession. I mean, there's no need for Japan to be able to pass the ball around now that Qatar have an extra man. Qatar's do it at the start of the game to maximise their advantage. It should be even more the case now that they've got this extra player.
SK Honda threading it through. Sabe. Held up by Al-Ghanib. Retrieved by Inoha. Down the line, but offsides against the Japanese skipper. Crowd figure just been announced, 19,479, which is around about 4,000 or 5,000 under capacity. Quarter of an hour to go. It's Al Garafa. It's an important header. Katomo believes that Saad's Ali Al-Hamad was a little late. The fullback to deliver with a long throw. And lead by example. He's doing pretty well at the moment. Fabio Cesar. Angle ball in behind for Lawrence. This has gone behind. Goal kick.
Good run forward there from Lawrence. We don't see a lot of him making forward runs out of midfield. It's a good option for Qatar. Needed to do better. The big man for Japan, albeit fortuitously in the end, falling for Kagawa, but the finish was sure just what his team needed right when they needed it. From the position of parity, Japan can reset their course. Instead of chasing the game, they can build for their assault. But they shouldn't be allowed to dwell on the ball. If I'm Bruno Metsu, I'm absolutely demanding of my players that this isn't allowed to happen for Qatar. They've got a man extra. They're actually courting more danger than they need by allowing Japan to settle back into the game.
Especially with this man in such good form. Nagawa, he's on hat-trick of course. Just broken up though, and here come Qatar. Too big man there for Sebastian.
Apart from the free kick, that's what Fabio has come onto the field for. Just playing as a more orthodox left midfielder rather than a left winger, as Ahmed El Sayed was. An early pass over the top, the range and the direction for Sebastian. The Brazilian is there as well for his free kick side. He called it correctly. It's a good option off the bench. Already has provided a dividend for Qatar.
Tell you what, Andy, if Japan are going to win this Asian Cup, and that's still a big if, they're certainly doing it the hard way, aren't they? They had to dig out of results in the group stage after having a man sent off, the goalkeeper in fact, Kawashima. Now they're down to 10 again. Injury time equaliser against Jordan. All being made to work hard. Here's Endo going through the middle. Thoroughly stopped by Al-Bani, and now Qatar on the offensive through Yusuf Ahmed. Cheeky chip too.
Well worth a go, that. Well worth a go. Millisecond. Eiji Kawashima won't be at all proud of the work he put forward for Qatar's goals.
strong for Lawrence. They were a bit behind play, so they'll try and angle it towards Okazaki instead. 10 minutes to go in Doha. Yusuf Ahmed's pace almost gets in there ahead of the defence again. He is such a threat. He is lightning quick, Yusuf Ahmed. Next goal, if there is to be one, will probably win this contest, you'd think. Lawrence. Fabio Cesar. Mufta. Great cross. Retrieved by Fabio Cesar. Square for Lawrence. Bilal Mohammed taking his time. Taking more time.
Yeah, and a different option. There's no need for those low percentage balls. They can take their chance now with the extra player to stretch Japan, who are dropping off as you'd expect in their entirety. Strikers dropping right off to just 15-20 metres outside their own penalty area. It does provide enormous opportunity for Qatar to experiment a little bit.
Elbow to the face by Shinji Okazaki. Fabio Cesar. He find the angle for the cross. He can't, but he gets a corner.
Next best thing. More pressure on Japan. Goalkeeper who's had the wobbles for Japan today.
It's not rocket science what Qatar are going to try and do here. Fancy Sebastian is one of the targets. Just dropped off behind the defenders. Here he is on the ball. Mufta forward, looking for Bilal Mohammed, who, as we know from the Kuwait game, can be a threat in the air.
Isn't he looming as a possibility as well? I think he's captained this team brilliantly in this Asian Cup. Bilal Mohammed, very good in the air. He's defended ever so well. Tackled cleanly. Inspirational performance over 3 3/4 games now. More than.
Now Yusuf Ahmed feeds into the channel, and Sebastian can't get there, but it will be another corner for Qatar.
Good pressure from Sebastian. Marvel at his, I marvel at his goal scoring threat, his ability in the air, but it's the bread and butter stuff that impresses me just as much. There's no such thing as a lost cause with Sebastian. When you have that mentality, you force errors in defence and pick up key corners. You make chances for yourself. He's a brilliant athlete. He's a brilliant competitor. And he makes chances where chances didn't exist.
The in-swinger from Fabio Cesar. So Yuji Kawashima and co on red alert to go short instead. Change of the angle. Thinks of the shot, and it almost caught Kawashima unawares.
They held his nerve well, the Japanese keeper then.
Sebastian with the infringements. Well, he's saying he's entitled to stick his boot up. So many of those down the years, haven't we? I think George Best made this particular manoeuvre famous.
It's
the effort from Fabio Cesar.
They did well there. He held his nerve well. He's got to, as well as judging the flight of the ball, he's got to try and anticipate a touch and react. So half his nervous system is geared up for that touch, and his brain is focusing on the flight of the ball. It was a very tidy piece of goalkeeping from a guy who's had an unhappy game.
It was probably unsighted too. A lot of bodies in the way. That's a good ball. Here's Sebastian, bearing down the penalty box for Qatar. Goes for goal. Side netting.
What a night it's been for him. He battled away, he scored the first goal, he had the crowd all up as one, but the angle just too tight in the end.
Dramatic piece of goalkeeping from Kassim. Draws rich applause from the gallery. It's really poised on a knife edge here. Again, was a fascinating and at times controversial game. Still, they can't be separated. Yusuf Ahmed's gone down. I think every time he falls on that wrist, he probably gets quite a lot of pain.
Certainly looks that way.
Inoha. Fast on width for Japan. SK Honda. Okazaki. Nowhere in particular. Hasebe was fouled there. Surely Hasebe. Free kick Japan.
We'll talk about inspirations captains. This guy has been sensational in this tournament. The team that struggled game one, he was outstanding. Has been hugely responsible for Japan regaining their swagger. This is exactly what a captain needs to do. Indeed, any leading player, any senior player in any team needs to get the bit between their teeth when things are tough. And Hasebe forced the issue there. Good anticipation, good determination. Through the foul, which is in a very, very handy position. SK Honda, Yasuhito Endo. Who's a step forward? My money's on Honda.
It would suit the left footer from this particular angle, you'd think. SK Honda, but he can't require a dip. Heavily linked the move to the English Premier League with Liverpool. Maybe that has all changed now. There's been a change of manager at Anfield. Other things on his mind at the moment, of course. He's perhaps getting a winner for his side. Here he is, Keisuke Honda. Good scrambling by Qatar. Still with Japan in the shape of Endo. Hasebe, angle ball, Kagawa! Shinji Kagawa could win it here! And Japan perhaps have won it! In the dying moments, it's Inoha, the young fullback! 3-2 for the Blue Samurai! And a punch in the air from Alberto Zaccaroni! The 10 men have shown nerves of steel! Unbelievable!
Well, they've backed their ability, Japan. They've got plenty of ability to back. But they've been let off the hook by Qatar, unless there's something remarkable from the host nation. in what can only be the few minutes that are left. But what about the composure to angle the pass through traffic? Shinji Kagawa tries to take on the keeper. Burhan was outstanding in this exchange. Scrambled, desperate. And Inoa slides in unannounced from right fullback to pierce the empty net.
And in fairness, had he not, it probably would have been a penalty. Japan 3, Qatar 2. What a game we've had here at Al Gharafa. And still Qatar are not finished.
Well, they've got 4 minutes, Qatar, to retrieve the situation. And I think, unless they get out of this, 3 minutes it is. I've just lost one already. How time flies. It is 4 minutes.
Oh, they've just corrected.
I thought I could read. I'm not going crazy. And if Qatar don't get out of this, the post-mortem for them would be that they didn't take Japan on when they had the numerical advantage. They sat back and let Japan get back into their rhythm. A cardinal sin.
Well, wonderful skills by Shinji Kagawa, weaving his way through. That surely would have been a penalty had Inoa not been on hand to tap it home.
And there will be discussion about offside for Inoa. I'd suggest he was level with the ball. Certainly the angle on that replay would suggest he was at least level with the ball, which is onside.
Would you say that in the end, Andy, and we're not finished yet by any means, that quality has shown through?
There's no doubt. They've been like, look, Qatar have been good opponents. But I can never understand why a team that has the extra player doesn't do the first thing, and that is take the opponents out of the equation when in possession. Esad Ali is off. Jarala Al-Mari is on.
It's a desperate last throw that iced by Bruno Metsu. They've got a free kick here, and Kawashima claims that.
And it goes against what Qatar have done in the games 2 and 3 to get this far, and that's exert enormous pressure on your opponents. And when they had the best opportunity to do that against the competition favourites, they just took the foot off the accelerator.
Almost 2 minutes of additional time played. Claims for a push on the edge of the box. Is the referee giving a free kick? He has.
Not sure that I think he's given a corner. It's not a free kick, it's a corner. It's change time for Japan as well. Mitsuna Nagata is to come under these final frenetic moments, and it's Shinji Kagawa. What a hero he's been. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. 1 goal and 1 key assist to rescue Japan's hopes from the embers.
2 goals.
That's how good he is.
Corner's been taken before Nagata can get into position. Heard the shout from Kawashima. Not that I understand Japanese, but it translates just as well. Get the ball out of there. Fabio Cesar trying to weave some magic. Sebastian into the near post. Oh, so close for Qatar. Ibrahim Al-Ghanim.
Somehow he's found a corner in that. The referee. It was a brilliant effort constructed from Qatar. They're not going to die without a fight, the hosts.
This might be their last chance, the hosts, to stay in the tournament. Fabio Cesar to the near post. Kawashima a little out of position again. Another corner. 40 seconds to go. They can barely watch. Sebastian rifles it into the side netting. And that might just be that for Qatar.
Well, again, the effort went to the near post of Kawashima, where he's been a little bit vacant this evening. But again, as the game's gone on, he's looked more and more assured, the Japanese goalkeeper. Some nervous final moments for Zach's Japan.
Okazaki will probably try to run down the clock. Along with teammate Honda. Qatar just want the ball by any means. Is there still time for one more attack for Al-Anabi? We played 4.5 minutes of added time. This has to be the last chance. Up towards Sebastian. And it's away to safety by Endo. The referee looks at the watch and it's all over. Alberto Zaccaroni punches the air. Qatar, dejection for them. But Japan, who've been asked some really big questions again today, have again found the answers. The hosts depart the tournaments, probably with their honour intact. They reach the knockout phase, but the favourites too strong, and in the final analysis, just too good. Japan 3, Qatar 2. It's the Blue Samurai into the last four of the Asian Cup. Well, what a game, Andy.
Well, a brilliant advert for Asian football. It had complete contrast, a technically superior team in Japan doing their bit against an aspiring up-and-coming football nation in Qatar who dug in, they countered with fluency, they countered with potency. I just think they lost the moment when they had it. They went down to 10 men Japan. Yoshida sent off. Fabio scoring from the free kick. They go up 2-1 and they took their foot off the pedal. Japan just too good to be given that sort of room to move, and what a football country they're developing into. They've had some enormously difficult contests in this Asian Cup already. They're only into the quarter-final stage. They've had to come from behind against Jordan. They've had to fight to the death against Syria. They had a bit of a gimme against a hugely disappointing Saudi Arabia. And they know they've been in a heck of a football contest here against Qatar. And on each occasion they've come through with colours intact and with their football superiority reigning supreme, completely supreme. And they're going to take a mountain of stopping from here. The self-belief and the galvanising that comes from this sort of performance, this sort of result, huge. You can't quantify it. Look out, Asia. Here come Japan.
And I don't care what Alberto Zaccaroni says. You tell these supporters and those players that this Asian Cup is not their priority. What resolve, what quality they have. And Qatar, well, they literally spilt blood for their cause, but they just could not find the answers. Not many teams can in Asia, and Shinji Kagawa